Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So Module 2 is the post-conference coaching conversation. So after thinking about what Bettina shared with you this morning, finding time to have a pre-conference is what we talked about last time in November, and now we've got to remember we need to do that post-conference with teachers. So here are the learning targets. I can explain the purpose of a post-coaching conversation. I can determine the basic structure of a post-coaching conversation. I can examine example post-coaching conversation language. I can analyze a post-coaching conversation for effectiveness. And last, I can create a post-conversation question recipe that will support my coaching conversations. So before we go to the next slide, think about what are the stages in coaching process? Type your answer in the chat box now. And if Bettina will read those out. What are the stages in coaching process? Just a little pop quiz to see if anybody remembers from 2 months ago. Are we getting any action?
Not yet. Okay, here we go. Exploration phase, chapter 6, in Aguilar's book, pre-conference observation or modeling, post-conference next steps, continued cycle.
Okay, and we'll move to the next slide. Here is the coaching process. Coaching is a sustained series of conversations that provide insight, reflection, and action into the coaching process. Having a clear purpose for each conversation is essential. Today, we are focusing on the purpose of the post-conference conversation. Again, you will look at your competencies at Standard 6, specifically the element that calls for a reading coach to demonstrate the ability to hold effective conversations with individuals and groups of teachers. Take a moment to jot down your thoughts around these 2 questions. What is the purpose of a post-conference conversation? And how might a post-conference conversation impact teacher and student learning? So just jot down your thoughts about these 2 and then just unmute and share some thoughts.
Are you ready now?
Yes, anytime you want to speak in, please do.
I think the post-conference gives a chance to really look back and see where you started at and the progress that you've made, and then to think about where you're going to go from that point. If there's more learning to do, or, you know, what you've learned, what the impact is, where that's going to take you.
Okay.
I think the post-conference is one of the most important things that you can do with a teacher. It is reflective. It is you are being honest. In what I normally do is I see the teachers right before they're planning. I'm in their classrooms, and then they take their kids to whatever special class and come back, and we talk right away. We talk about it right then, and I can tell them the good, the bad, what I thought, and just have an honest conversation. One of the teachers that really I knew I was doing well in my new building. She's a GT teacher, but this year she has just a non-GT class as a sixth grade teacher. And I told her, and I had already been in one of her GT classes, and I asked her why her questioning went down in this class in her small groups, and she didn't even realize that's what she was doing. And it's making them reflect and see it right then. So I think post conferences is one of the most important things you can do in this role.
Jennifer, one of the words that I'm seeing that a lot of people are adding, reflection. If there is something you weren't completely clear about, you should clarify them to make more explicit the strategies being implemented to reflect on practices and their effectiveness. Teacher can become more aware of their strengths, the instructional decisions they make, and how aligned they are to student learning targets. Through reflection, we can make more impactful instructional decisions that increase student achievement. Clarification, reflect, plan next steps.
I'm going to move to the next. Someone else want to go? Go ahead. Well, it's not moving.
The next slide.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me go back. Okay, so this will confirm some of the things that you said. Why do we do it? Seeking or confirming reality of what's happening in the classroom, promoting reflection and prompting for change. I like to say nudging myself. Generating options or strategies together to move forward, creating new steps or action planning, confirming if the options or strategies are working, inventing improvements or refinements, and reviewing progress towards goals under the goal until the goal is achieved. So I think y'all hit it on the nail with what it is for. There is an article, but don't go there yet, just hang on. What I want you to do is a short article, and you're going to take some time to read that article closely and see how Elena will identify the structure in the terms of 4 stages: an opening, a transition, the conversation, and a closing. As you read, be sure you highlight words or phrases that stand out as important to you and to the process of having a coaching conversation. If you don't have the article printed out, you can just write on sticky notes. And what we're going to do is you're going to use this protocol, save the last word for me, so you might want to take a picture of this. And Bettina's going to put you into groups of 4 into breakout rooms, and you're going to be in there. So after you get in there, go ahead and go through the protocol to figure out who's going to do what, but then take about 8 minutes to read, and then you'll come back together and follow this protocol, and we're going to give you a total of 15 minutes because we're trying to cut it so that we can get finished in time for lunch. But be sure to highlight or make sticky notes of that article. The article is found on the first link on your agenda under Module 2 where it says important links. So if Bettina will now put y'all into groups, I'd appreciate that.
Hey, I'm working on it. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Okay, open our rooms. Options, 15 minutes. Okay. Still wasn't able to set the timer
You were.
or not.
Okay, so I'll set my phone for 12 minutes and then we'll,
But I can, hmm. Yeah, it's not giving me the options.
okay, well, I'll tell you when they've got about 3 minutes and you can post that.
Well, tell me when they have 1 minute left, and when they have 1 minute, I can close it, and then it'll do the countdown for them, and it'll bring them back.
Okay.
Jennifer.
Yes.
So I had to switch some people around. I did it a few minutes ago, but some rooms you may have 3 in there.
Okay, that's fine.
So, but most of them have 4. And then Cherie was kicked out. And so she emailed me and said that she was kicked out. So I don't understand now why Dupree is in room 1. It just popped up. All right, I'll send her to another room.
Well, you know, as long as they can get the conversation, it doesn't really matter the numbers that particularly.
Okay.
See, it tried to send me to a breakout room too, and I just said later. So that probably messed some of the numbers up.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I may give them an extra minute just to,
One,
since they had some of that moving around.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So yeah.
Because I've got an hour to get through what, a little less than an hour, about 50 minutes, but I think I'll be fine. I think it'll be good.
Okay.
Whoop.
Mhm.
Are you there, Bettina? Bettina?
I'm here.
Okay, it's about a minute before they need to come back.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yep.
Thing gets hung up. There.
I'll let you know as soon as everyone comes back. Right now we're at 10.
Okay. I see 22. Is that about right?
Yep. We're
Okay.
good. Yeah.
All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed having some time to discuss what you read. And I just want you to look at this slide. It's a quote from the article. And this is a question that Elena has along with some advice. Did you plan for the conversation? I asked. She shook her head. Then that would be a first start. You need a plan and a basic structure for the conversation. So Elena is advising coaches to have a basic structure, like the 4-step structure she proposed in the article you just read, and a plan. A plan takes time to draft, and as you are probably noticing, pre-planning coaching questions before a coaching conversation is essential and important to the work of the coach. So you have a link to a debrief plan like this. It's a blank template. This is a tool that Elena created for coaches to use in pre-planning their coaching conversation questions. Let's take a look at this very simple tool. The tool is linked on the digital agenda, and there's also a sample that we will be looking at after that. At this point, if your book clubs have not read through the lenses in the Art of Coaching text, don't worry about that section when you get to that on the form. Pay more attention to the area where you can draft your questions and your thinking behind each question. This tool is designed to create more intentional and reflective coaching conversations. So now we're going to view one of Elena's sample questions and her thinking behind the question. So for question number 1, she drafted is an opener question based on her 4-step basic structure to a coaching conversation. She is planning to ask, how are you feeling today? So that's her question, but this is her thinking behind that. This will reveal some information about Mr. Delgado's emotional intelligence. What language does he use to discuss what happened? How does he name his own emotions? Or does he bypass that topic and move into other topics? I want to start our conversation by opening this space because in order to have a discussion about other areas, we often need to clear emotions first. This is what makes coaching unique and effective. We acknowledge the presence and role of emotions. We attend to them and we support our clients in processing them. Now here's an example of her 5th question that she would ask and her thinking, and her 6th question. We'll let you read that to yourself. So with these questions, she's digging into the practices and the skills that this teacher is using within the classroom. So how could you use this to be more supportive in your planning of coaching conversations? I want you to reflect on that question, think about it, and when you've got a thought in your mind, just type it into the chat, but wait until I count down from 3, and everybody will hit send at the same time so that we can have a waterfall. So think about how could this tool be supportive to your planning of coaching conversations. Type your thinking into the box, but hang on, I'll tell you when to hit the button. Give you a few minutes to think and to type. Okay, I'm going to count down from 3, 2, 1, press. And if Bettina will read some of the thoughts, please.
Definitely more structured and beneficial to plan guide for conversations, help reach the end goal to make sure to hit the focus area or lenses, can help with staying focused on the goal or outcome. It can help to organize thoughts and learn more about the teacher. It requires me to really think about my purpose, what my purpose is with the conversation, to help guide the conversation, to help keep them organized and on track, can help with setting a focus for the discussion, create a flow, a structure, make more efficient use of limited time we have, scaffold questions on a continuum to more self-reflection, help me set aside my goals and preferences to honor teachers' goals, become more aware of systems that may influence classroom practices.
So now we're going to think about appreciative inquiry. In coaching conversations, we ask a lot of questions, so we're always inquiring to find out more. Therefore, we must remember the tense of appreciative inquiry when asking questions and promoting for reflection. Ultimately, the way we phrase our questions could determine if the teacher will look at their current reality through an asset-based lens or a deficit-based lens. The language we use creates our reality. As we draft our post-conference questions, make sure you're using the asset-based language to ensure asset-based thinking. So I want you to read back over these examples of asset-based language examples. We shared these in September. How easy has it been to change your language to asset-based language? Place a number in the chat from 1 being super hard to make those changes to 5 meaning it's been super easy. The goal is for this thinking to become a second nature with practice. You will get there. So 1 being it's hard to 5, you've got it down pat. Just add that to the chat and Bettina will just, without naming names, say the number.
I'm seeing a lot of 4s
Yeah.
and a few 3s, mostly 4s.
All right. I think sometimes, if we're received well, it's easier to do the asset language. Sometimes we kind of get in defense mode, which throws us into the old traditional processes. So you might even want to share something like this with your principal to show, when they're saying you need to go in and fix that teacher, that you're like, well, how can we help her grow? So questioning is an art. It takes time, practice, and planning. Read these 2 quotes to yourself. Pick the one that resonates with you. And then unmute yourself. Everybody keeps wanting to use the chat box, but I want to hear some voices. After you choose the quote that resonates with you, just unmute and tell us which one it is and what it's meaning to you. We want to hear some people.
I like the Jim Knight quote. When I was going through high scope training for early childhood classrooms, my mentor from DC shared that, and she said, never ask questions of children to which you already know the answer. And the way it opened up how we had conversations to know what students know and are able to do, instead of asking them, what's 3 + 3, or, asking more questions that they really didn't know the answer to, like, how did you go about solving this problem? And I think asking questions to which we don't already know the answers opens up so many more possibilities to know whoever we're working with, whether it's students or teachers.
That is so important. Thank you. Someone else.
I like the Francis quote, because if you're starting to ask the right questions, those teachers are going to start answering them and opening up more, and then you can see a glimpse of where they're coming from, and it leads you to more questions. And I think when we're coaching and talking with adults, that one is very important.
Okay, what about 2 more people? Come on, people.
I would agree with that. I like them both, honestly, but the first one from Francis, I think that, a lot of people are closed off and don't want to open up. So you have the right kind of questioning that is more of the appreciative, the asset-based questioning. They're going to be more relaxed and more willing to open up to you.
Right. And I think that kind of asset-based questioning is usually more open-ended too, so it's not a pointed question that's a right or wrong answer, so there's freedom within the answer. Anyone else? Okay. This thing won't move, it gets stuck. There we go. Well, we're going to take a virtual field trip, and I know this is probably not going to work in this mode, so I'm going to stop sharing, and I have the video already ready. But as we watch it, I want you to pay attention. That is Jim Knight on your right. He is the coach in this video. Pay attention to his coaching questions and what his questions do to the teacher, Kat, with her thinking and her reflections. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And then I'm going to get, oh, come on, where is it? There it is. Nope, that's not it. Okay, just give me a second. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Even though I don't like to think of skinning a cat. Okay, now I need to share. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay, you know if you can hear it. Could you hear that?
Start beginning.
Play it a little bit more.
Start beginning unit 2.
Yes.
Unit 2
Okay.
for small populations because why? Awesome, awesome. So smaller populations because everybody can have a direct say. What's the other one?
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best class you've ever taught, and 1 being the opposite of that, roughly where would you place that class?
Probably mid-range of 5.
Okay, so not a 1. Okay, so tell me why you would put it at a 5 first.
There was engagement. I don't know. I would have wanted the engagement to be significantly higher, but it wasn't a 1 because it wasn't the worst. When I was reflecting back, was it authentic engagement or was it compliant engagement? And that's where I struggle.
Right.
I know it wasn't the authentic that I would have liked.
What would have to change to make it closer to a 10?
A lot more engagement. I felt like I was trying to pull information out of them instead of them just presenting. Even though I was asking lower level questions, it still felt like I was pulling information.
What do you mean by that?
Some of the questions that I was asking were straight from the quiz, straight from everything that we had just gone over, and they just still are kind of sitting there looking at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. How do we know that those beliefs are civic values, guys? Because you can remember them from last unit. What's the definition of a civic value? Don't look at the word wall. See everybody's eyes looking right over there. Tell me. You guys just had a quiz over it. What is it? Important principles or ideas that help better community. Okay? So these are all civic values that
Differently if it was the way you'd want it to be.
a lot more interaction between the students themselves based on the topic. Like when, for example, when I was pulling out the idea of Victor being the king, and Victor wasn't quite getting where I was wanting him to go. Brown on Victor, okay? So who appointed? God. The idea of divine right of king. So who has all the power? The king via God. So if you go against a king, who are you going against? God. So historically, how many people are actually going to go against a king? Very few. The students, I would have liked to have them kind of help probe some of the questions and go there, because the students in that class knew exactly where I was going.
You said you think you know what your goal is, so what were you thinking?
Level questioning, question level.
So if the questions were changed, what would be the difference? What would be the difference with the kids? Is it back to your engagement?
Yeah, I think it would get back to
Right.
more engagement that, and I don't know, maybe I'd see even a decrease in engagement at first because they wouldn't be used to the higher level questions.
Right.
But I think that it's something that I would like to do more of. I do a lot of it on paper.
Right.
To be able to give them written feedback, but I'd like to be able to do more
Right.
verbal to give them more verbal feedback.
So you would like a large percentage of your students to be authentically engaged, not strategically compliant.
Correct.
They were compliant, but you like them to be authentically engaged. And you're thinking the way to do that is to look at the way you ask questions. Does that sound like the plan?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's awesome. That's a really great place. We still don't know their level of knowledge and what they're learning, but I think authentic engagement would work. And I think looking at the questioning would be a great idea too. And in high impact instruction, I've got some simple ideas about questioning that I think we could talk about. So we need to figure out how would we measure authentic engagement. We need to try to paint as clear a picture as you can of what it would look like, right down to specifics.
The students, I think, would be asking each other questions to kind of get the higher level pieces and the basic pieces.
When you say basic pieces, you mean?
So like when I was asking Victor about, would you be paying in that 75% of your wages?
Right.
And Victor initially was like, yes, because it's fair. I think I would have liked to have seen the kids kind of jump in and say, but it's not supposed to be fair. It's a monarch, and kind of paint those pictures themselves instead of me painting that whole picture for them. So that would have helped me make it higher.
You want them to be able to respond with confidence that they know the answers, and that's not what you were saying. Is that fair to say?
That's fair, yeah.
So the idea is we want a high level of authentic engagement. What percentage of the students would you want to give a 4 or 5, where you feel, okay, I've hit my goal?
I mean, ideally, 100's the best,
Sure.
but I know that that's going to be challenging. 85.
Okay, so the goal is 85%ish authentically engaged, and the strategy is going to be to look at questioning.
Mhm.
So let's sum up.
Okay.
We're in the identify phase of coaching. And in the identify phase, we want 3 things. We want to identify what's happening in current reality.
Right.
We did that by the video recorded in class. And then we wanted to identify a goal, and then we want to identify a strategy. The goal is 85% authentic engagement. The strategy is to look at the question.
Right.
And that's where we are. We identified those 3 things. The next part is to talk about, okay, how do we put this questioning into place? What's the next phase?
Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to share again. So, where is it? Okay, so now I want you to write down, what did you notice about Jim's questioning? And what did the questions do to Kat's thinking and reflection? And you can just write this in your journal. And if anyone has the feeling that they would like to share what they're thinking, please unmute and share.
I could watch these videos all day long because I just feel so relaxed when you listen to him. Like there is no right or wrong with him. He's not judging. He's just throwing out questions so just effortlessly.
Yep.
My homework is definitely watch him more, and I think that allows the teacher to relax and share her true, you know, where she really feels maybe her weaknesses are, and then it really is based around what she wants to do as a teacher and how she wants to grow and that ownership.
I loved how he led her through the entire cycle. It was, okay, you know, what did you see? What do you want? Then he led her, you know, to a goal and then a strategy and then a plan. And it was just so effortless. And the whole while, he never, you know, in essence, acted like he came up with any of it. He had her initiate everything, even though he was coaching her through the entire process. It was her. He empowered her to own everything.
Right.
Yeah, and since she takes ownership of that, it will mean something in her classroom.
He does what we want our students, where we want them to take ownership and we want them to be reflective. And what occurred to me is he did just that with her.
Right.
I feel like he held up the mirror and she could look at it and see, because I think teachers don't slow down enough to reflect. So those types of questions provide that opportunity. Anybody else? Well, he says it's also a bit like tennis. I can only do what I'm going to do once I've seen where my conversation partner hits the ball. Similarly, my partner's responses inform what further questions I will ask in the coaching cycle. So if you remember in the past, we've talked about being good listeners. We can't be thinking about what our next question is going to be. We must be listening to what they're saying to us so that that helps us think of what the next response is from us. It may not be a question. It may be a clarification. It could be so many things. But we have to slow down enough to listen to what we're asking them to tell us. So now we're going to think about creating a post-conference conversation recipe. Now, in a few moments, you're going to do this, but we're not ready for it yet. But if you'll remember, we did this with a pre-conference recipe back in before Christmas. But before we begin creating, we want to introduce you to 2 question sets that will help you to determine which questions you will choose for your recipe. So step 1, on your digital handout, there are cognitive question stems, coaching stems from Jim Knight. No, they're not from Jim Knight. You have Jim Knight questions and cognitive coaching question stems, sorry. They're the next 2 links on your agenda. And then you're going to look at those. And then after you've looked over those, you're going to draft 5 to 10 questions that will serve as your post-conference conversation framework. So his instructional coaching questions are these, but you can look at your, if you click on that link, you'll be able to see those more easily on your, and they're called Identify Questions. That's the link. So to introduce you to this resource, He has organized his questions in 8 purposes of areas. And these are the 8 areas listed on this chart: seeking reality, prompting for change, generating options, next steps, confirming direction, reviewing progress, inventing improvements, and planning next actions. And your other handout from the cognitive coaching is a second set of questions that they're post-conversation questions, and they're organized into desired cognitive process on the left and possible language to use on the right. So I want you to take a few moments to look at these 2 resources and start thinking about how you could draft 5 to 10 questions, just jotting down some notes, thinking about that. And then I'm gonna give you about 3 or 4 minutes to look over these, and then I'm gonna take you to the next step. Okay, now if you would, we're going to move into step 2, really drafting those questions that will serve as your post-conference conversation. On your digital agenda, there is the Padlet that we used for your pre-conference conversation. That link, I have renamed it, you'll see when you get in there, to be pre and post. And I made a post in there so that you could remember what your directions are to do, making your recipe card, thinking about 5 to 10 questions that could serve as your post-conference using these resources. Please be sure you put your name on your recipe so that you get credit for doing it. And you just make a new one and make it a different color so that so it won't confuse you with the pre-conference. I just want them all to be there together. So we'll give you about 8 to 10 minutes to do that. So just click on that Padlet and start making your recipe card now.
May I ask a question, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I just took what I started and just put post in bold and started on the same one. Is that okay, or you want me to make a whole different
It
post?
doesn't matter. As long as we have it, that's what matters.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mhm. And Bettina, if you'll just kind of check it to see when it looks like they're finished.
Will do.
Thank you. I've got my timer set.
Okay.
I think we're gonna get finished right on time.
Yay.
It has been so windy here. Thankfully, the wind is finally, looks like it's slowed down a little bit.
I think it's supposed to warm up a little. I hope so.
Well, the wind's been like 13 miles per hour and it makes it feel colder than, like right now, it feels like 48 here.
Oh my
The temperature is 52. My feet are cold.
I know it. My feet were cold too. I had to go and get my little fuzzy socks to put on.
Are they getting them in there?
They are.
Good. We're about at 4.5 minutes.
Hey, Jennifer. 1, 2, 3,
Yes,
4,
ma'am.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of them are in there.
Okay,
I don't see where anyone else is typing. Well,
2.5 more minutes.
I wonder. A few of them are changing their colors, card color.
Okay, as you finish, do a little virtual gallery walk and read some of the other recipes and see if there's anything you want to revise your recipe to add to it to make it a little tastier. Okay, we're going to bring it back in 35 seconds. And 10. Okay, so hopefully you had time to get your recipe together. If you didn't, you can always do that during your independent time to add to it. And you can at any time go back to that Padlet and do your virtual gallery walk and add to as you're thinking about how you're going to try your post-conference conversation. So now thinking about in your coaching notebook, using Elena Aguilera's coaching debrief conversation plan format to write about the thinking behind your 1 or 2 questions. So you are going to put those questions that you had on your recipe card onto this form and take some time to put the thinking behind your questions. So you might want to just pick one of your questions for now, write that down, and then write down your thinking behind it, just like those examples we looked at earlier. And if you have read through that section about what Lynn you used in her book, you can add that to it. So we'll give you 5 minutes to work on that. And you just do this within your coaching notebook, so you'll be able to refer back to it. Two-minute warning. Wrap up your thinking. You can always come back to this. And this would be something great to talk about in your book study clubs, since this comes from the book that you're studying. Okay, one more minute. So does anyone want to unmute and just share your thinking about this process of writing a post-conference conversation and having prepared questions? Well, for the next month, we want you to try it. Try your post-conference coaching conversation recipe with a coachee, or like I said, when you're in your book study clubs, you might want to take some time to practice on each other. Take time to reflect on the question recipe success and what went well, and make revisions. Think about any changes you may want to make to your recipe based on the experience. Because as we know, different people bring us different experiences. So again, here are your learning targets for Module 2 today. And now I'm going to set you up for Module 3, because when we end in just a few minutes, you will go to lunch, and then you will be looking at this Module 3. Then you will take a break. If you're following the schedule, you'll have your book club, but I know some of you have your book clubs at other times. And then to be sure to fill out the survey at the bottom of the reflection of the digital agenda by the end of the day. So today from 12:45 to 1:45 on your schedule, this is the time to work on Module 3. I copied this straight from the agenda. There is a link to the PowerPoint. You may want to download the slides if the links and notes don't show up in the Google Slides. You read each slide and the notes section, because that's sort of like your study guide in the notes sections. their videos, their handouts, and their activities all embedded in this PowerPoint in the slides. Please do not make any edits, adjustments to the PowerPoint slides when you're viewing the presentation, or it'll make it for everybody. So the best thing to do is just go ahead and download it. Please share your reflections on the back channel, and the link is on your agenda because this is where I got this. There's a back channel for you to add your reflections. One important thing about this PowerPoint, it is about MTSS, and it's very, very meaty. So don't think you're going to get it all done today. It'll be there for you to access so that you can revisit over time. So you might want to just go through the whole thing, just looking at it sort of as an overview, and then just pick a section to start looking at and digging into a little more deeply. But remember, you can use this information with your literacy team or the MTSS coordinator to plan for MTSS. And you can break this down to many, many sessions if you decide you want to share any of this information with those at your school. But it's really well done. Sandy put it together. And so she hates she couldn't be here.
It says access denied on the power.
Oh, you're kidding.
Let me see.
Okay, let me go and let me, hang on. Because I know she would have made it, but I'm going to make sure if it'll let me, since I'm the person.
Because you need access, request access.
Okay, where is her? Okay. It says anyone on the one I'm looking at. Let me see. I'm trying to see if even I can get into it. Okay, I can. So
I'm in also, Jennifer. And it says anyone, but I'm going to change, well, I don't think it will matter.
When I downloaded that agenda as a Word document, you don't think that's why, do you?
I thought the same thing too. So I looked back in the chat box to see if the original link to the agenda was there, and we've got so many messages now I can't get to it.
actually no, because that's how I got to it. I had downloaded it. I'm getting it out of a Word document.
Does it say anyone with link or just anyone?
Anyone with the link. I'm wondering, could we just download it as a PowerPoint and send it? And it'll still have.
So big, I don't know if it would go.
Can you copy that link where it's the share settings and put it in the chat box and see if we can open it from
Yeah, I will do that. Let me try. Okay, let me find y'all again. Okay, yeah, I'll try that.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, good. Phew. So, and just remember, it is very meaty, and it's going to take more time than the time allotted today for Module 3. So just look through. Don't overdo your time with it. Give it an hour just to peruse it and to kind of and just revisit it over and over as you see the need for it. But it's really very informative and very, very helpful. And so this is the end of our Module 1 and Module 2, and you're going to work on Module 3 on your own. Just don't forget to complete the survey for today. And Bettina and I will be here from 12:45 to 1:45 for office hours if you need us.
Jennifer, is anyone else having the link just spin? Like I clicked on the link and it's just spinning, but I've been having that trouble, but my internet's fine.
Mine went in.
You might have to log into Google first. I've noticed that. Like
Okay.
if I'm not logged in, then it sometimes spins and spins.
That's good to know.
Okay, I'll give that a try. Thank you.
And it may be because so many people are doing it too, all at the same time. Because you could maybe cut and paste it, copy it out of the chat and then put it in your browser and see if it does it that way.
That's a good idea. Let me try that.
Is everybody good? If you're good, you may go, and you can come back if you have questions during the 12:45 to 1:45.
I'm still spinning, but I'm going to try to sign into Google and then go in that way and see if that will work.
Okay, and if it still doesn't, send me an email and then I'll just reply and put it in there and see if that works.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Wendy Williams. Bettina, I almost didn't recognize you now that so many people are gone. I can see more of you. I was like, who is that?
I had my camera off. Audrey, I believe, has her monitor is higher than my monitor. So I can't put the extra monitor behind my laptop. So when you look at me, you're looking at the side of my face if I'm looking at the other one. So I need to find a way to fix that.
Well, I think we done good. We got through it all. And I didn't feel hurried, and I don't think they did either. I just didn't want them to feel hurried because it was all so important.
I agree. I keep getting an email saying that my storage is 90% full.
Ooh.
And
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Looking at what we have to have for the end of the year, I know when we received something in December kind of stating what we need on the expectations for you guys to review. I did not do a video of my post conferences, but if I have a reflection and the teacher also has a reflection about that, will that be okay?
Yes.
Okay. And then the back channel, like I don't necessarily always submit my questions. I'm keeping it in my journal. Is that something that is going to count against me if I'm not submitting the back channel? It's just more of a conversation if we need to keep it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not missing anything, or I'm definitely getting everything turned in.
We're not hard-nosed. We want it to work for you. So it's
okay. Great. Great. No, today was very helpful. So I appreciate that. All right. Thank you, ladies.
Welcome.
So Jennifer, I've tried the link and then that didn't work. So then I signed into Google and that didn't work. And then I tried to paste the link into my browser and that didn't work.
Okay.
It's just spinning. I wonder if it's just because so many people have it open right now. You think I just need to give it like 30 minutes and maybe
go ahead and email me and I'll just respond to you.
Okay.
jaybreak3@ed.sc.gov. And I'll just pop it in there, and then you have 2 ways to access it.
Okay.
But it probably is, everybody.
Well, and I'm a little technologically slow, so I'm probably the last one that gets to the link.
That used to be me until I made them, and then still sometimes it doesn't work the way I think it should.
Okay, I just sent you an email.
Okay, I'm sitting here waiting for it to pop over here.
Hopefully that'll work. But if not, I can just give it like 30 minutes to see if when some people pop off of it, if
Right.
that,
Okay, I'm sending it back.
okay. We will give that a try.
Yeah. And Bettina, we had a person that, did you stop recording?
No, I didn't.
Just thought about that.